Gentlemen, that concludes the Q&A. And now this is just going to be 2 minutes of you. And I'm just going to be listening. Mr. Palato, we are going to lead off with you, sir.
As you can tell, I'm one that's always broke the mold. I wanted to wear shorts and a polo shirt tonight, but my wife wouldn't let me. So I wasn't sure whether you guys were quite progressive enough to see my legs, so this is what you get for tonight for my outfit. I wanted you guys to know I'm passionate about everything I do, and for the officers who know me, they know me to be not just the most knowledgeable in the positions I can put in. My departments have always put me into the challenging problems within the community to solve the problems. They know that at the end of the day, they're going to be calling me the expert in that field, even if I didn't start at it, because I have one thing in mind, and that is solving the problems and how to best solve the problems that we're dealing with. Whether it was domestic violence, and that's what I did here for the city as the lead investigator there, even cross-teaching it at the Criminal Justice Academy to bring that knowledge to the officers, or dealing with the homelessness here, which had no standard operating procedure. I'm the one who had to go out there and find out what resources we had, how to best help them, go into the camps, talk to them to see what we were dealing with firsthand, from mental illnesses to drug addictions to alcoholism. I'm a servant leader. I'm passionate about everything I do. I'll roll up my sleeve and I'll go door to door or talk to the businesses, or I'll go against the grain with all the amenities that are out there that don't think we should have the ability to solve the problem, because we've always done it that way. I've been in the trenches ruffling feathers. I don't mind ruffling feathers, because that's what God's called me to do, is to make a difference in each one of your lives and to solve the problems that are plaguing this county. Right now, we can't afford to go backwards. We're already behind the times. And with another 9/11 knocking on our door, and with Hurricane Helene, we aren't prepared for these things. And that's why I say it's important for me, for you guys to hear my heart. I'm only in this to bring this change. And with all God's equipped with me in these last 3 states that I work, to bring you that training, to bring us all back to safety. Thank you.
Mr. Ryan.
First and foremost, I want to thank everybody for coming out here tonight. We greatly appreciate it, because I'm going to tell you, every one of the people that you see on this stage right now are working their tails off. They're working really hard to earn your votes. I want you to understand that I will lead this agency as a servant leader, as Mr. Palato said earlier, but I'm going to tell you, there's something gets put on your heart. You know, it was back in October that I was sitting in church, and we were actually studying Nehemiah at church. And I came home one day and I told my wife, I said, you know, I've just got a burden that has been put on my heart to run for sheriff. In 2019, I nearly passed away. I collapsed at First Baptist of a complete aortic dissection. That night, as I sat in the hospital, the doctors came in and they told my wife and they told myself that I had roughly a 2 to 3% chance of coming through surgery. They brought all my children in, and I got to talk to each one of my children for approximately 30 seconds, and this was going to be the last time that I had an opportunity to talk to my children. I woke up with surgery 9.5 hours later. Some of you have probably seen this with my testimony, but I woke up from that surgery 9.5 later, and I was blessed enough to be here. The doctor said to me that day, he said, Bill, I don't know what God has planned for your life. He said, but it's something special. He said, because there's absolutely no medical explanation for why you are alive today. I did not save your life. God saved your life. I just simply put you back together. When you have something like that affect you in your life, when you become burdened, and a burden is put on your heart, you have to make a choice. Are you going to respond to that burden, or are you going to ignore it? And when God puts that burden on your life, we have a responsibility to respond. The reason I've chosen to run for sheriff is simple as this. I'm responding to that burden that God has put on my heart. And I promise each and every one of you, I'm going to make mistakes. But I'm going to learn from those mistakes. I'm going to grow from those mistakes, and we're going to get better. But the one thing I promise you I will never do, I will never make a bad choice as your sheriff. I will never bring any ill repute on this agency, nor will I bring any ill repute on the state of South Carolina. Again, thank every one of you for your time tonight. Appreciate you being out.
Mr. Stevens.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to take up much more of your time. I've told you what I do. I've gave you examples of where I've been. I've told you what tools are in my toolbox and what I'm going to use. I have no friends at the Sheriff's Department. I don't know anybody there and don't want to have friends. I'm going there to do a job. And I've told you that I will protect your rights as a constitutional sheriff, and I will. This is going to be a tough job because this is really a messed up situation. It really is. And the more I'm out here in the public, and the more I'm talking to people, and the more I dig into data, the more messed up I see it. We need to put the right person in this job, because in 5 more years, it's going to be even harder to turn this around. All these men up here are good men, and they're good Christian men. And I'm proud to be up here with them, I really am. So think about what you're doing. Thank you.
Mr. Cheese.
I guess it's the $1 million question for everybody. Why do you want to be sheriff? I absolutely love where I live. I love the people that I get to serve. I love my community. I show that in the time that I spend with the charities and the nonprofits that I'm a part of. I believe in real change, and I believe real change comes from being present. It comes from listening, and it comes from working alongside the people that we serve. I believe public safety starts with trust, and that means showing up and being transparent and being accountable. That doesn't mean that you're going to agree with every decision that we make here. You're not going to always say that this is the right thing, or that sometimes the no is not always right. But I believe that if we work together, with our community, if we want to reduce crime, we can follow the statistics, and we want to be a data-driven police department. If we can advocate for our deputies to have fair, competitive pay, I believe if we can advocate for the better training of our deputies, and we can be better servant leaders. We have to be open to feedback. We have to be open to listening to the things even when they hurt. We have to be creative in our approach. We have to be involved. And more than anything, we have to understand why we do what we do. My leadership style is about service, and it's about integrity, and giving Spartanburg County a sheriff that they know that they can trust and believe in. The one thing that I take away from it, for me, it's not about the power, it's not about the position. It's about your purpose. And I truly believe that I'm running for my purpose. Thank you.
Mr. Clark.
I know the tech guy is off the paper, so I apologize, not off my phone. I will be the sheriff of the people. I know the jobs at the office, and with my relevant experience, once in, we can just pick up and move forward. I'll be able to listen to the officers and citizens and explain the why we do the things we do. When speaking with the command staff and officers, I want the same expectations as why we're doing things and then how we are going to do them, fix and improve things. There's sort of an unstable relationship with the community and the force, and we have to fix that. Morale is down, and working together as one, we can be the example county from what Greenville County wants to be, Cherokee, Union, the surrounding counties. That's what we want to be. We want to be the example county, not just on the police force, but also to live in, that our citizens are protected. Their love for the officers are just excellent. Again, showing up to county council a few weeks ago when the pay was cut, it was just an emotional time to be there. I am proven. I'm transparent. I started a newsletter in the office, letting everybody, all the deputies, know what's going on in my division. I've been into the community. I've been on a part of a team for a Donate Life campaign. I've race directed a 5K, and during that, to couch the 5K, I've given out, hey, here's expungements, here's healthy living from the county nutritionist. I've been tested in a critical incident, and I've worked with the towns on mutual aid agreements. I think that's going to help us out in the short term for response times. One of the biggest things is you have to leave it better than you found it. And on August 5th, please, Andy Clark, I'll definitely leave it better than I found it, because I've done it once and I can do it again. Thank you.
Mr. Clevenger.
I also would like to thank everyone that's come out this evening. I understand some folks are having to leave. Thank you for staying with us and hearing these important issues. We've heard about leadership this evening and whose style and who will be what. I will agree that servant leadership is extremely important, but I also agree that selfless leadership is important. As the sheriff of this county and as a leader now, I understand who does the heavy lifting in my office. The sheriff will not be able to be at every call. The sheriff will not be able to be everywhere at once. It is the deputies, and in my instance, the investigators that I put in the field, that make sure my directives are upheld. And it will be the deputies under the sheriff that do the very same thing. Selfless, along with servant leadership, is extremely important. Teamwork is also going to be extremely important. I've never, in my almost 40 years doing what I've done in the service of this community, have been able to do anything by myself. I stand before you this evening asking you to trust in me again to be a leader of a larger organization within this county that also has a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week responsibility. We've talked tonight about the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Again, we take an oath and swear to make sure we uphold that. As your sheriff, I will make sure that happens. Ladies and gentlemen, I would offer real solutions to real problems as your sheriff. I would ask that you go to www.clevengerforsheriff.com and vote August 5th, Rusty Clevenger, your next sheriff of Spartanburg County. Thank you.
Mr. Duncan.
So when I stepped in the last election, I stood alone against a 20-year incumbent. People told me it was pointless, that I was too young, too bold, and I didn't have enough experience, but I stood anyway. I stood on the conviction that someone had to advocate for the deputies. Someone had to speak up for the citizens that felt ignored. Let me be perfectly clear, I'm not here to copy anyone. I'm not running on borrowed ideas, I'm running on conviction. I was the first to call for transparency, accountability, and true leadership before it was safe. Before it was popular, before anyone else came forward to say it out loud, I stood alone last year. I know this job. I have earned the trust of the victims, families, and fellow deputies by showing up and not showing off. My name is Nick Duncan. I'm ready to serve Spartanburg County with conviction, courage, and commitment. What I ask of all of you, regardless of who the sheriff is, regardless if it's any of these people, we have heard from county council people talking about the sheriff's salary. All of these guys have a lot of ideas on what we need to do to correct the retention rate in Spartanburg County Sheriff's Office. When they present this to County Council and County Council gives pushback, I want everybody that give a problem with the sheriff's salary to show that same support for the deputies. I need everybody to come out and say, the deputies need this, the sheriff is fighting for this, why are y'all not fighting for it? Give the same energy towards that as y'all have for the salary.
Mr. Hollifield.
He who finds a wife finds what is good and finds favor in the Lord. My wife said, over here, Karen, stand up. That's my wife. Yes, Bill, I took that from you. Let me say this. I'm going to put the same determination in being the sheriff of Spartanburg County as I did in 1982. I can get through with this. When I started, I didn't have a car. I lived with my mom, and I walked to work each and every day, second shift. I walked from the Methodist College to downtown every single day on second shift. Started before 2 o'clock, got there at 3, left at 11 o'clock and walked home to my mom's house. Man gave me a briefcase because I couldn't buy it. His name's Charlie Gray. I had a briefcase that I walked with each and every day. That briefcase still sits under my desk in my office. Why? Because that reminds me where I came from and who I am. And I'll never forget where I come from and who I am. And I will treat y'all exactly the same way as the sheriff of Spartanburg County. I love each and every one of y'all, and I appreciate y'all for being here tonight. Thank you so much.
Can I